Today, I want to explore a simple but what I believe is a radical idea. And that is, no story about you, no matter how inspiring or painful, can ever give you lasting peace or a long-term feeling of safety. Not because stories are bad or wrong, but because of what you truly are is more fundamental than any story the mind can tell. When I say story, I mean the ongoing narrative in your mind about who you are, what other people are, what the world is like, what your life means. It sounds like I'm the successful one. I never get it right. I was abandoned. I am a healer. They are my enemy. They are the only ones who understand me. On and on. These stories can be empowering or limiting, heroic or tragic. They give continuity to our sense of self. And yet, if you look carefully, every story has three features. It's partial. It never includes everything that's happening. It's changeable, right? It can be retold, reframed, forgotten, reinterpreted. Correct? And thirdly, it's dependent. It relies on memory, mood, and perspective. In other words, it's not solid. It's not ultimate. Of course, the mind loves stories, and identification with a good story can feel wonderful. I finally made it. I found my purpose. I'm with my soulmate. I'm a spiritual person. In those moments, we feel a strange surge of confidence, belonging, even relief. The nervous system relaxes, the world feels safer. But notice what happens next. As soon as life shifts, the job changes, the relationship gets rocky, the body ages, the spiritual high fades, the story is threatened. The same is true with painful stories. I'm a failure, no one stays, I'm damaged. These stories don't give us safety at all. They give us a familiar kind of suffering. And yet we cling to them because they feel like me. They feel like continuity. So both positive and negative stories share the same problem. When we take them to be who I am, our peace rises and falls with the story. So the great wisdom traditions begin with a different place. It asks a simple question. Non-duality, Advaita, asks a simple question. Are you the story or the awareness that knows the story? Right now, notice you can be aware of thoughts about yourself. You can be aware of emotions, body, sensations, memories. You can be aware of the entire narrative that says, this is my life. All of that moves. It changes. It comes, goes. Yet the fact of being aware of all of this is constant. The non-dual traditions point to this awareness as your deeper nature, a presence that is not limited by any particular narrative, role, or identity. From this perspective, stories are movements within awareness. They are expressions of life, but not the essence of who you are. They can be honored, healed, retold, but they can't define the awareness in which they appear. If you confuse yourself with the story, you're trying to find a permanent peace in something that is inherently impermanent. It's like trying to anchor a ship to a passing wave. Now ask yourself very simply, what is it that is aware of this story? You don't have to find a word. Just notice that something, some presence is aware. Thoughts can change, images can change, even the emotional charge around the story can change. But the fact that you are aware of it is steady. Now gently let the story fade into the background. Notice that awareness is still here, even without the narrative in the foreground. Who you are, in your deepest sense, does not vanish when the story drops. In fact, what you are is what allows stories to come and to go. From here, our original claim becomes clear. Identification with any story, good or bad, spiritual or secular, cannot grant lasting peace or safety. Why? Because every story is partial and changeable. Any story can be challenged by a new experience or a new perspective. And if your sense of self and safety is fused with your story, you will feel shaken every time the story is shaken. Lasting peace doesn't come from perfecting the story. It comes from relaxing the mistaken identity with the story itself. Peace is not the result of the right narrative. Peace is the quality of awareness that is free of needing a narrative to be complete. This doesn't mean we throw away all stories and become blank. You still have a name, a history, relationships, commitments. You still play roles: parent, friend, partner, creator, healer, student. The shift is subtle but profound. Stories become useful tools, not ultimate truths. You can hold them lightly, update them, even enjoy them. You can tell a healing story about your past while knowing you're not limited to that past. From the standpoint of awareness, stories are like waves in the ocean of consciousness. They rise, express, subside, but they never alter the water itself. You are the water. So no story about you or others, no matter how beautiful, can give you the lasting peace you seek. Because the peace you long for is already present as the awareness in which every story appears. The more gently you rest as that awareness, the more freely stories can unfold, and the less your peace depends on them. So once again, thank you for being here with me at the Chopra Well. If this resonated, feel free to share it with someone who might be living inside a painful story right now.